Okay, I think we're live. So welcome to another e-NABLE Town Hall. We're just gonna hang out here, give folks another minute or two to join. Looks like we got John now. Hi, John.
Hello there.
And let's see, do you know if is Ben going to be joining today? Do you know?
I hope not. He is so wound up with things that I hope he doesn't bother trying to come, and I will try to help with the notes.
Got it. Okay. Give me just a second to get my windows set up here, and I'll share my screen. Too many windows. And let's see, I got to get that YouTube chat. Okay. All right, now let me share my screen. There we go. All right. So John, you're going to help with notes. Thank you. Let's see. Do we have anybody to introduce today? No, everyone here is an old timer. Action items. Okay. So I got to still gather the details of some of our recurring infrastructure costs. I started, haven't finished. The only ones I'm aware of right now are the Azure hosting, which is running close to $500 a month at this point, and the Mailgun service that we use for transactional emails, and that's running around $75 a month. I'll pull all the details together, get a spreadsheet, and we'll revisit that once I have that ready.
Jeremy, $500 sounds like a lot. Are we sure that that's the most economical platform, or is that something we're exploring now?
Well, it's always up in the air. When we went to Azure, they had given us a grant, so it was free.
No, I understand the history. The question is about the future.
Right. I don't know. I mean, what we need right now is to review how we're using it. One of my action items is to schedule a meeting with Andrew to review our Azure configuration. I haven't done that yet. So that will give us a sense of whether it is or isn't cost effective.
Cool.
Next one is for me to share a Google Doc for revising the top content of our chapters page. We talked about this last time. We wanted to revise this guidance at the top of the chapter page, because right now people new to the community come in here, they think the first thing they're supposed to do is look at chapters. They come here. We want to make it clear right up here that you don't need to be part of a chapter. Starting a chapter should not be the first thing you do. You know, we need to make some of that clear in here. So I shared a Google Doc with John and Ben. If anyone else wants to join in on that, please do. You are welcome. The link is right here in the notes. So you can jump in here. Anyone who clicks this link has full edit permissions. So just revise it however you see fit here. Add in changes or comments or whatever you want to do. And as soon as we like what we have, we'll drop that back in there. So
I just want to remind everyone that that page will be reworked pending the chapter API portion of the e-NABLE API.
I mean, I assume whatever wording we come up with, you'll just port over. So that's
correct.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, I guess, as far as the action item, it's done. I'm going to leave it in here in case anyone wants that link for now, though. Next one is for me to train Rick on doing new response templates in the help desk. And we just set up a meeting for this afternoon. So we'll do that as part of that. We got to look at a couple of other issues too. And then I mentioned this one, I've got to set up a meeting with Andrew to look at our Azure configuration. As long as I have you here, Andrew, is there a good day or time that we could identify right now? I know you're starting a new job, so it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, Tuesday's my my first day, so I could probably get like an hour Tuesday morning. Otherwise, it'll have to be sometime between now and then, or I can do after hours as well, weekends.
Sure. I mean, I would think a half hour would probably be sufficient for looking at this.
Yeah, I've got
time this afternoon if you do.
Works. Yeah, I've got I'm checking out some apartments. I need to leave in like an hour 15. So if we go quick after this meeting, we might be able to do it.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I can do that. So,
Okay.
if you're open to maybe meeting up on the weekend, that might work best.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Let me just get an email going here as my reminder to get back to you after this. Okay. Let's see. Next up is Rick coordinate an introductory meeting between e-NABLE and 50 Legs. Any updates there?
Jeremy. Oh, am I muted?
No,
Oh,
I hear you.
I have contacted the 50 Legs people via email. I have sent out actually 2 of them, and I have not gotten a response as of yet. I don't know if they're just super busy or they're in the middle of their fundraising scenario, but what I've asked them for is just basically a little introduction, and to let them know that maybe some of the top guys at e-NABLE, we could open some dialogue, maybe a Zoom or something of that nature. So I've reached out to them twice, but
That's great, Rick. It will take some time, apparently, and can take persistence.
absolutely. But they are right here. So worst case, I could just plop down on their doorstep, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, these things take time, so we'll just check back in with you on that. Okay, so our metrics, nothing really stood out for me, except for the fact that I'm not getting chapter updates anymore. So I'm saying 202 chapters. I really don't know how many we have. We might be at a little bit more, but honestly, we really need to do a chapter audit at this point. With Bob handing that off, we have that on the agenda, so we'll talk about maybe how we can approach that as we get down there. But I'm no longer confident that is an accurate number of 202, but the rest of this is accurate. Nothing really to point out here. From the hub, got a few posts of note. One of them from our friend Masvi, who's here with us. He's found a source for, may have found a source for children in need of hands in the Ukraine. More info soon. Any more info, Masvi?
Yeah, so to that post, this guy replied he's in the US, but he's Ukrainian origin. What he's been trying to do is sort of plant this. He's been doing this pre-war. He tried to plant the seeds for e-NABLE devices in Ukraine. He sent over a few devices to a few hospitals for review, but the war started and, well, nothing happened.
Of course.
So now what he's trying to do, along with me and another Ukrainian who is in Ukraine, what we're trying to do is spread the message of our devices. The way that will probably work is a multi-pronged approach. We're making a sort of one-page landing page website with the most critical information, and I don't remember what we discussed, but I think that page will also be sort of converted into a single sheet paper format so that it could be printed and distributed, analog.
Very nice. Is there anything that we can do to support you, or are you looking for help with any parts of this right now?
Well, graciously, e-NABLE France Theory and Christoph from Poland, they both said that they would be able to, their communities would be able to provide devices if needed. In Poland, Christoph said that they already are making devices for refugees. So in terms of device manufacturing, I think we're solid. I'll also be up and running in a few weeks. I can't print anything now, but I'll be in a few weeks. I'm not sure about the other neighboring countries, Romania, Hungary. I don't know. Do we have any contacts there? Because they're not active on the hub, so I can't really. I don't know what their response would be. But anyway,
my wife is from Romania and has some family there, but I don't know that they would have the right contacts for us.
We have chapters, is what I'm saying, but I'm not entirely confident that they're active. Some of the few chapters have last activity on Facebook like 2 or 3 years ago, so no idea what their status is. Again, we need an audit.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, there might be a issue in terms of logistics. We do have few different options how we can transport goods into Ukraine. The bigger problem is transporting goods within Ukraine.
Okay.
The postal service, the couriers, well, they're not really operational at that kind of a capacity. So we do have options, but currently it's looking like they will be paid options. So I might be making a withdrawal from the e-NABLE fund to help cover that.
Sounds good.
Great.
I think you're familiar with the process here, Masvi, but through these very meetings here, we can approve on the fly
Yeah,
up
but
to
it's just really
$1,000.
preliminary. That's why I don't want to go into too much detail, because we have no idea about the need, about anything. You first
Exactly.
need to get the word out, get responses, and then go from there.
Of course, but I'm just saying, once you know the details, let's just, we can probably talk about it and get something approved right here in one of these meetings, so you don't have to go through a bigger process unless it's a larger amount. So we'll talk about it when you're ready.
Awesome.
Great.
So Masvi, congratulations and thanks. I gather we're still looking for the partners who will, if you will, lay hands on the amputees and treat them in a responsible manner and act as liaisons.
Correct. So we do have a handful of volunteers. Well, I mean, volunteers, people who are volunteering to do this. However, they are concentrated in the more sort of relaxed regions, I would say, where there isn't a lot of action happening.
Sure.
So we're not entirely sure how much they could help, and also, I mean, they would be wary traveling to those locations anyway. So there's a high chance that we would gather all of the measurements remotely, and then send devices probably via military.
Okay, you're doing all the right things, Masvi. It's great. Couple of thoughts. I haven't heard of any medical professionals involved. Keep an eye out for that and keep us posted on that. And that's particularly relevant because, as we have seen in other conditions, remote deliveries often fail because there's adjustment and coaching needed. So as we assemble a solution, if we do, that's going to have to be something that we keep an eye on.
Correct. So yeah, but well, the thing is, medical supervision is touch and go. That's something that we cannot really foresee and plan. However, in terms of operation, yes, we have that in mind, and we will probably, well, not me, but the Ukrainians will be making a video in Ukrainian describing how the device operates, how to adjust it if needed, even maybe a little bit of thermoforming if some kind of there was some issue. That video will be made in Ukrainian at some point, again, if the need arises. So far, we're still in the searching phase.
Really nice work, Masvi.
Right on.
Yeah. All right, we will check back with you. Moving on here, there was another post from, I don't know how to pronounce this, Melis. I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. New volunteer from Calgary, Alberta, looking to collaborate, and just kind of a general sort of, hey, looking for people to work with kind of a message. So I just thought it might be nice to, highlight it here and see if anyone has guidance for her. She says, I don't know anything about prosthetics other than my desire to learn to design and love for arts. I'd like to transform it to help those in the field of prosthetics and produce some great concepts that everyone can carry as just not functional devices, but be proud to have beautiful parts on them. Looking to contribute in exchange of free resources to learn to design prosthetic devices. I'm also interested in designing prosthetics for animals. In the meantime, I'd like to contribute from Calgary. Let me know how I can help. So sounds like an inspiring designer. And I don't know, anybody have any words of advice for where to go from here?
She actually had opened a ticket.
Good, okay.
And so there was quite a bit of dialogue. We sent her here to the hub to post just to introduce herself, but she has a pretty extensive ticket in there as well.
I will say, just the other day, discussion came up about the possibility of getting a new series of meetings going on maybe a monthly basis, specifically for design sort of collaboration. It was just a thought that we threw around in a meeting the other day, but we were wondering, would there be interest in, anybody throughout the community who's involved in or interested in doing new designs, or basically a show and tell, kind of just get together once a month and just kind of show each other what we're working on. Hey, I've got this great idea for a new ratchet or a new tensioner system or whatever, and just kind of make sure that we know what others are working on, and share those bits and pieces with each other. If there's enough interest and we get something like that going, that could be a good avenue for somebody like this to get plugged in and see where they can contribute. Okay, well, on we go. The other one is from our very own Rick Williams, who shared a video, which I just have to share here. So it's only about a minute long. I got to play it. So here we go. Whoop, why is that not working? I guess I can't go full screen.
Hey, Marcus. You threw it in the...
Whoop, hold on.
Hit the back of Daddy's car. Do it again. I bet you can't do it again.
All right.
Oh! I wouldn't hit Daddy's car if I were you. Oh God, they're just bulbs. Lead with your thumb. You got it. Ooh, smack down. Here, let me get you from the front. Alright, throw it right at the camera. Nice grab.
Nice reminder of why we do what we do, huh?
Who's the kid? What's the story behind the case?
John, that's Marcus. We've been working with him since he was 3. He was born without lower arms or feet, and they wouldn't let him into the schools. No, so we went to fight. We actually fought the school system with Marcus. They said that he couldn't come to school because, well, the last reason was he couldn't pull up his pants, and the teachers aren't allowed to touch or help him. So if you notice on his arms, well, this one is his throwing arm. He has 5 arms for different reasons. And his, one of the problems was, so we put a guitar, where you hook a guitar strap onto a guitar, we put one of those on his arms. He hooks them in his belt loops and up they come. It was that simple. And then they had a couple more reasons. We got rid of those. So now he's clearly a very unhappy person. So you can tell.
I can see that.
And he's basically he was our first MIDI kid. We actually built an arm, and all the code was based on MIDI protocol. He can plug right into synthesizers, and he can play. I think we're up to 5 musical instruments now.
Wait a second. This is the first I'm hearing of this whole MIDI thing. I got to hear more about this now. How does this work?
Well, see, Adreno code is all well and good. The problem is it's proprietary. MIDI's been around about, 60 years.
Sure.
Very tight protocol. So we've been trying to design the arms using MIDI protocol because it has a lot more range of motion and it does a lot more things. The other thing is it allows a port that we basically have now redesigned to be Bluetooth, BLE. And he now can sit down and communicate on we have a giant synthesizer stack.
So how is the communication working? I mean, how is he actually how is he triggering different? I'm not understanding how it's working.
Actually, I could send you videos. It's pretty cool. There's a bunch of videos on our site, but
I think we need a presentation from you, Rick. I think we need a demo and presentation in one of these meetings.
It would be the same thing that you're already accustomed to with Adreno code, but replacing it with MIDI because there's just more things going on.
No, but Rick, is he playing music, or are you just using that as your bionic protocol?
Both.
Then you need to make a presentation.
We got to see this, Rick. I'm not getting it yet, but I want to see it.
Well, we have a bunch of videos, and we designed one unit that snaps onto his hand, and it's completely BLE. And as he shakes it, he's able to completely get involved in music, and because he's been told all his life he can't.
Wow.
Play music.
Okay. Do me a favor, Rick. Start thinking about putting together a 45-minute overview, leaving us a little time for Q&A. And one of these weeks, the whole hour is yours. I'd really like to see that.
Well, also, I sent I sent all of you a link to one of my servers. I hope you got it. And there's a whole bunch of this kind of stuff on there, photos of the pets, and I just never know if you guys get it sometimes.
Well, that's unfortunately, we get very, very busy, Rick, and I can't speak for the rest of these guys, but I know I get over 100 emails a day. So that's why it's nice to have you present in one of these meetings, because often we just, if it's in an email or in a post on the hub, we often will miss it.
Oh, I understand. I was just letting you know that we're making a lot of this available.
I would love to see it, and I'm sure others would too. So let's get you on the schedule for a presentation here.
Rick, are you hinting that you would like not to make a presentation, or just that you have lots of stuff that you've already sent us?
I'm a pretty low-key guy, John. Nobody really usually hears from me much unless they ask me.
Well, we've asked you. Right now, the question is,
I actually have a presentation that I did not long ago for Kiwanis.
Okay.
And we brought a lot of these devices in and showed how they work and how the MIDI works. I was saying earlier, I play 13 instruments. So for me to mod, we have actually been building, designing, and modifying instruments that allow people that are amputees to play. We've built specialized guitars, special synthesizers, and we've got videos of it all. It's kind of really a hoot.
All right. Well, we definitely need a presentation, Rick. Maybe even we might even need to schedule something outside of this, because I'm not even sure an hour is enough now that I'm hearing this. And we also need to, I know John just told us how busy he is, but we got to get Ben or somebody hooked up with you to write up a story on this.
A story or a video. I hear that Rick has got all sorts of video assets. Are you the kind of guy who then edits stuff into a distributable video, or are we looking for?
We do that all the time. We actually just did a video not long ago, and one of the ones that we just finished, John, was they wouldn't let Marcus ride a horse, and because so what we did is we got past all the legal issues, we got past everything, and I have a whole video of him that we edited and everything riding horses and driving tractors.
Okay.
And it was a hoot, but we have a whole video production thing here.
Rick, the e-NABLE community cannot afford people like you sitting in the background, not sharing their story with us. You're on notice.
One of the things I wanted you to know, in case you didn't get it, is I sent you a link to one of my servers.
I'm looking for it.
My servers, basically what I can do, because I know it's hard to upload large things to you guys, but I've dedicated one of my servers just to put stuff on for you guys. And I sent you a link to it. I can give you a read write. I initially just gave you a read only. I can.
So just a couple of quick notes here, Rick, and then we got to move on. Number one, I have an e-NABLE dedicated sort of file share in Google Drive with unlimited storage. So anytime you need to store something, I'd be happy to get you a link where you can drop anything that you want. And that way it's in kind of our whole e-NABLE repository with everything else. Yeah. Number two, as far as videos go, I don't I assume you do this already, but just upload them to YouTube. You can put them as unlisted if you want to, but that gives you free unlimited storage for videos.
We've had some issues with YouTube where people will make not particularly nice comments about the kids.
Well, that's why I say unlisted. Yeah. If you make them unlisted, nobody sees them unless you share the link with somebody. It's just a way of storing them for free.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. No worries.
Okay, on we go. But I would definitely like to get a presentation on the schedule for you, Rick. So give that some thought and let's talk about it next time, or we'll coordinate by email. As far as our recurring meetings, I checked. It doesn't look like we have a schedule for the events for the month of June yet. I'm hoping we'll have that soon, but for now, normally today would be a focus follow-up session. Given what you said, John, do you know if we're still doing that today?
I have to assume if it's not been posted into the hub. For understandable reasons, Ben hasn't done anything.
Okay, I guess not. The last one is still showing up for some reason. That says May 13th. I think that's the glitch we're having.
Okay,
With the,
I think we dropped the ball.
So we're not doing
If you
one
want, I can give you a little background on the worthy activities that are keeping Ben away from us today, but let's just announce, if it's not on the calendar, that there is not a focus follow-up today.
got it. Okay.
And I suppose we should do something. I mean, what are the odds that someone's going to show up? Well, there's no link for them to show up to, so that's okay. Fine.
Yeah, unless they went to one of the old ones, but I'll get an email notification because I think it's my meeting, so I'll get an email if somebody joins. If I see that, I'll
Good.
jump in and let them know.
Great.
Okay, so on we go. I don't have any one-time events, so we're into our discussion topics here. Okay. Handshake program and school internships. Any updates there, John?
Yes. Ian Roy submitted 2 proposals to Brandeis today for interns, one of whom will follow up on Kevin Dardick's work, and the other will work on an onboarding, sort of a tip of the iceberg onboarding process that will also include the NIH 3D file exchange. Ian,
I'm sorry, the other, I was typing there. What was the second one you're gonna do?
tip of the iceberg on-ramp for designs, which will take our feature designs and make sure that they are prominently on the NIH 3D file exchange.
Got it.
And lead to further modifications of our whole device onboarding process.
Sounds good. Okay.
And
so,
he will be he himself will be supervising those interns,
oh,
which
that's
is to
wonderful.
say he's stepping into the leadership role that we hoped he would.
That
There's
is
room for other leaders in there, Rick Williams and others who may be listening.
absolutely.
But that's the update.
That's exciting to hear. I'm really glad he's taken that on. Okay, update on matching platform analysis efforts. So just this morning before the town hall, I had a meeting. I want to thank Ed Grieg, our friend over at Deloitte UK, for coming through for us. He hooked us up with 2 very talented individuals. I was super impressed by both Igor and Sarah, who I met with this morning. They seem to have an absolutely perfect background for what we're looking for here in terms of, user experience and research and analyzing, user pathways. And I'm getting all the terminology wrong, but I recorded the meeting. So if anyone's interested and wants to see it, you can hear their backgrounds for yourself. It was a very productive meeting. It was a 1-hour meeting, so not surprisingly, we ran out of time. I was able to give them a good overview of the community and some of the challenges we deal with, and take a look at the 2 matching platforms and talking about some of the others. But we definitely need to get back together. They asked, and what I proposed is that for that next meeting, I said, I will try to get a couple of others from our side involved so that we can, get into more of a discussion from others' perspectives about some of what has worked, what hasn't worked, et cetera. John, I'm looking at you, and any others who are interested should feel welcome to join too. They asked about Monday. They're obviously overseas. So 10 a.m. Central for me, which would be 11 a.m. your time, John, on Monday is one time that they said would work for them. Would that work for you?
10 a.m. Eastern on Monday.
No. I'm sorry. It would be 11 a.m. Eastern. It's 10 a.m. for me.
Let me check. Monday. I can do that.
Awesome. Okay. I will send out an invite. How do I, well, let's see. Let me just put a placeholder in my calendar as a reminder. Whoops. Okay, I think that'll be enough to remind me. I'll get back to that. Thank you, John. I'll send out an invite. Anybody else here that's interested in our discussion about matching platform options? Okay, just let me know if anyone wants to join. Okay, time zone issue with the hub. I don't remember where we left this off. Mazvi, do you want to give us any a summary or an update of this issue and what we're doing, if anything?
Well, to be honest, we're not doing anything.
Okay.
This is completely a HumHub issue. They know about it, and it doesn't appear to as if they actually want to do something about it.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So,
And
Masvi,
I
yeah.
know there was some talk about how, I guess if people are signed in, they don't have this issue. It's only if they're not signed in. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the problem is that HumHub does a really bad job at guessing the user location geographically, and that's used to determine their time zone.
Right.
So if you are signed in and you've set the time zone correctly, then you're fine. But this is mostly a problem for those who are not signed in or are guests. They will
Okay.
default to UTC 0, GMT 0, London time.
So, you know,
Okay.
maybe I wonder if we shouldn't, you know, maybe put like a notice banner at the top of the upcoming events that links to a page with some instructions. Hey, you know, there's this shortcoming. You want to make sure that you're signed in and that you've set your time zone here or something like that. What do you guys think?
I could do a workaround and make a widget above the upcoming events widget, something like that.
Yeah, just like a little
There's not
button
really a
that
way
takes
to
them.
update the upcoming events widget without breaking stuff later
That's
on.
fine. Maybe, yeah, maybe we just stick a button right above that and it can just link them to a different page that has the information. You don't need to try to cram it all in right there, but something to call their attention to that, I think would be a good workaround. Because I think most people that are going to care about the events probably do use the hub signed in. So as long as they're aware that they want to make sure they're signed in, then they probably won't have an issue.
I'm not sure about that, Jeremy. I fear that there may be people who check the calendar, who don't bother logging in, put something on their calendar, on their personal calendar, and there you go. So
Hmm.
my question is whether, Masvi, we couldn't just embed a Google Calendar and stop using HumHub's functionality.
Well, embed the Google Calendar. I mean, you understand what you're talking about. It's not a copy paste one and done solution.
Right. Yes, there's an API for accessing a Google Calendar, but there's coding work involved.
No. They'll give you an embed code. Dare I use the word iframe, but I think it's an iframe, and you can select what calendar you want to have show. And then you've got a nice little embedded Google Calendar with all the functionality. I can.
Well, I mean, let's see. There's the month.
John, I understand what you're getting at. That it's just that I guess it's then we have to decide on our approach what we do in terms of events and dates. Do we do that exclusively on Google then and not HumHub? Because right now those calendar events are events and people can get reminded about them. The posts format differently depending on the event, all the participants and stuff. All of that is now sandwiched and standalone on the hub. If we use Google, then it is something external that is very difficult to integrate into HumHub after the fact.
Well, those points are all well taken, but my impression is that the common denominator these days and what the dominant calendar that the world uses is a personal Google Calendar to which you want to add events. And of course, you can then, once you do that, you can trigger reminders, etc., using your favorite interface. You've mentioned other integrations, but I'm not clear what those integrations are or whether they're critical.
It might not be
Masvi,
critical.
you understand these issues better. You understand these issues best of all. I'd be happy to have a separate conversation and just take your guidance as to what's the best solution for HumHub users, because I think you're conscious of what the problem is.
Again, this is just more of we need to decide on approach on how we handle our e-NABLE calendar and where are those events handled. As it stands, it's on. I honestly don't know. Do you mirror what you do on Google Calendar, and and you do the same thing on Google, on HubHub? Is that what you do?
What I do is I'll see an event on the HubHub
Talking about
on the,
creating an event, creating an event.
oh, to create an event that you want to have on the calendar, you have subscribed, certain people have write privileges to the e-NABLE calendar, and they can simply put an event on the e-NABLE calendar using their own interface.
All right, let me rephrase this. For a new event that, let's say we have a focus, follow-up, whatever,
Sure.
in 2 weeks, do we make that event on Google Calendar and then on the hub, or is it just that we make the event on the hub and not on Google Calendar right now?
Currently, to my knowledge, we just put it on the hub and we leave it to everyone else to put it on their personal calendars.
Okay, so that is probably the main question. Do we move over to Google for e-NABLE event calendars or not?
That is the
Because
question.
if we do, then it becomes a nightmare to manage 2 different calendars, etc. But then we will lose native HubHub integrations when it comes to events.
But again, I think we would abandon HubHub calendar, and that means we would have to review what functionality would we be using. I'm not conscious of a great deal of HubHub calendar integration in our existing workflow, but maybe that's my ignorance.
You're probably right.
I'm probably right. Masvi rarely says that. So let me just suggest that, I think Ben should be in on the conversation, but if Ben, Jeremy, Masvi, and I, and anyone else who wishes, but if those 4 were to agree on this switch, I think it would be relatively easy. So Nick,
I would abstain because I just don't use any e-NABLE event calendar stuff at all. So I have really no input here. The only input I do have is that HubHub calendars do offer internal HubHub integration stuff. And whether we need that or not, again, I'm not using those features, so I can't be the judge of which direction should be best.
So John, I think you, me, and Ben can have a meeting and review that if you want to find a time for that. I'd be happy to discuss with you.
Okay, but Masvi, it would fall to you to modify the hub.
Oh yeah, I know, but that's where the difficulties start, because if we actually do use HubHub calendar integrations, as it turns out, for example, and we need to mirror that functionality, that might be a big problem.
I wouldn't worry about that, Masvi. It's just, instead of getting their upcoming event alerts in the hub, they're going to get them through their calendar, which is handled by Google. So the biggest effort here is going to be just migrating all the content that's on our calendar now and setting up all those events on a Google Calendar. But that's not for Masvi to do; that's for us to do. So if we decide to do that.
Okay, so we will.
Let's talk about it.
We will talk about it. The only question is whether, Masvi, you have any insight for us as to how to find out what HubHub calendar integrations we may be taking for granted right now.
I'm pretty familiar with that, John. I mean, as far as
Jeremy,
what the calendar is doing and how it's alerting us and all that, I think we're good.
Good, thank you.
Okay, we talked last time about this event in Dominican Republic and talking about possibly supporting them with some funding. Have there been any updates that you're aware of there, John, or anyone?
No, we were hoping that Creality would step up. I have no updates on that, but your insight about marketing versus strategy.
You remember what I said last time about making sure we want to review content before it goes out? It was pretty funny. The very next day, I got one of their marketing emails, and you know how it says who it's from? They actually misspelled their own company name in the email they sent out. They missed the L in Creality. It was pretty ironic, having just talked about it. Okay. So just something to watch out for if we do want to be involved in the editorial process.
So no updates.
Okay. I think we covered this before. I need to pull together a spreadsheet with the details about our current billing for Azure and for the other stuff I mentioned, but I'm also going to be meeting with Andrew. Sounds like on, what did we decide? Either today or Monday, I can't remember, but it's on the calendar. Did you say today, Andrew?
Weekend.
Oh, the weekend. That's right. We're going to hook up on the weekend. It's Rick. I'm meeting
Actually,
with.
I got a call in the middle of this. I think that apartment thing is canceled, so I might be free this afternoon.
Oh, and well, as it turns out, since we're not doing a focus follow-up, I could actually meet with you after this meeting if you still want to do that.
Yeah, I need to call these people and make sure that I think they just told me that they're full for the year. So
Sounds good.
Um,
So, yeah, just take care of that, and then maybe just reach out to me by email when you're available, and we can
Okay,
jump in a
will do.
Zoom call. Okay, let's. I wanted to have an opportunity to kind of look at any open tickets in desk, and we did this last time. I don't know if there's anything new to look at, but let's jump in there and see. This is for e-NABLE only. Okay, so some of this is, yeah, Rick and I are meeting this afternoon. We have not had a chance to go through this yet, so some of these might be dealt with better there, but let's go through some of these. Body powered hook prosthetic. Okay, so this is just, is this one that you're looking for me to handle? Oh, I see. Okay, so I'd like to escalate your ticket to a more senior member for review. Okay, so this is an example of one where I don't want to take too much time on this because we're going to meet on this later, Rick, but I just want to look. Yeah, so you replied back on this one. Whatever you did on this, you did it right. It went to his address. Now you CC'd me. Was that intentional?
Yes.
Okay,
you
don't need to do that.
Oh,
Yeah, because that's what was throwing me off, is because I kept getting these emails in my 3D Universe inbox with tickets that looked like it was just your responses. When you assign something to me like this, just by making me the ticket owner, it will show up as one of my tickets, and I get an email notification that a ticket has been assigned to me. So you don't have to also CC me, because then I'm getting duplicates.
okay. Sorry.
No, that's okay. These are things I didn't explain to you in the first training, so I just wanted to mention it. So I'll look at that one later. I don't want to spend time on any of these that are just waiting for me to respond to. Information. Okay, so this is somebody looking for help, and you point them to the chapters map. Okay. I'm just looking to see if there's something. Do you remember this one, Rick? Is this something you need help with?
There was information on joy and videos.
Should go very long way and getting joy.
Did I? I must have assigned.
You assigned it to me, but I don't see it. The other thing is, Rick, are you aware of the comment functionality up here? So if you click this little comment icon up here, which is next to the reply button, this is internal only. So this is a way for us to communicate back and forth, but the person who emailed didn't see it. And you can mention me in here. So if you do an @ symbol and then select me from the name, and then, type your question or comment here, I'll get an alert that I've been mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really useful.
And that way it's recorded right there with the ticket. So instead of having to track emails separately, whenever we go into the ticket, whatever those discussions you and I had will be right there as part of the ticket thread.
And they won't. Okay, if it's private, that would be awesome. Yeah,
exactly.
I did not try that, but I will. That looks like a much better.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. So I think as I'm going through here, because normally I wanted to have an opportunity for us to kind of look at any open tickets and see if we need help, but I think I'm going to hold off on this because Rick, you and I are meeting later. I don't want to take any more time for this right now.
Most of the time, if it says escalated, I'm either escalating it to myself because I'm waiting on a response. And that's kind of sometimes what I do, because if I say hold, it doesn't show up in the open ticket area.
Oh, I can fix that for you. I know what you're doing, but yeah, there's different ways of setting this up, but in status mode, we have different statuses that we can use, and then it'll show up in the appropriate column depending on what status it is. And you can configure that. You can choose which statuses are showing as columns, and you can change their order. And so I can help you with all that this afternoon.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll escalate it to myself, not necessarily to you. Or if there's something I'm not quite clear on, I escalate it and then add you as one of the team members. And that's probably where I get in trouble, I guess.
Yep,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go over all that this afternoon. Let's move on for now. Okay. Chapter audit. We've talked about this earlier. We have got to do a new chapter audit. Where did we stand with this? Now, have you and Bob Rieger talked, Rick? Are you taking over chapter management stuff?
Bob has discussed it with me, and what he said, he wanted to know if I could assist. I said I'd be happy to. And he said the next time he is doing one of these, he's going to contact me and train me.
Oh, so he suggested that he's going to be doing a chapter audit and we'll work with you on that.
Oh, I shouldn't say that. There's something that he asked of me, I agreed to do, but I don't really know if it was chapter audit.
Okay, no,
I didn't
I
know
think
what
I
it
get
was
it. So he's talking about
exactly.
just onboarding a new chapter. So the next time somebody applies to create a chapter, he wants to go through that process with you of how he looks them over and decides whether to approve them or not, that sort of thing. Is that
I
sound right?
believe what you're saying is true.
Yeah.
I didn't know enough to ask the proper questions, maybe.
No, that makes sense. Given what I've heard from Bob and his situation, I would have been surprised if he was going to take on another chapter audit. So I think we are going to need your help to do a chapter audit, which we can maybe talk to Bob and get some input from him because he did it last time. But it's basically a matter of getting a big spreadsheet with all of our current chapters, which we already have, all the email addresses for the chapter leaders, starting to reach out to each one of them and trying to verify their status, find out if they're still active, confirm their, take a look at their websites and social media, et cetera, and basically validate that each chapter is still active and retire those that are non-responsive. It's a lengthy, time-consuming process. So it's something that we'd have to talk about and see if it's something that you're able and willing to help with, but something we're going to have to do.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what questions to ask, but I told Bob if I can help, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to follow up with him on that. I know that part of how we did that is we set up a Google form with some questions for them, basic questions about, number of devices they've delivered, people they're working with, this, that, and the other thing. And we basically emailed that all the chapter leaders and asked them to fill out this form. As expected, very, very few of them filled it out. So then you have to start doing additional follow-ups and trying to get a hold of them. And it's a getting the answers we need is not easy, but we're gonna.
And there was a guy I escalated to you also. His name is Abe, and I forget his last name.
Okay.
And he wanted to assist with some of this as well. I forwarded him to you.
Okay.
Because I thought, well, volunteer. So you might want to check if I somehow did it the proper way. Maybe you'll see it.
Okay. Sorry, we can look at that together in our meeting later too. All right, John, you had some?
Yeah, I wanted to say, Rick, you're doing a great job of getting up to speed and revealing yourself. I wanted to say that this particular task, the chapter audit, once it's well organized, is a fairly tedious mechanical process. I'm beginning to realize that you have a whole network of collaborators. If there is a young person who wants to be paid by the hour for doing the routine and mechanical part of that you would work with, that might be good for you and that person, just to let you know that the audit is not trivial.
And I'm not up to speed on, maybe Masvi can update us. I haven't really been part of the conversations with Ben and Masvi, but I know there are plans to redo stuff with regards to how chapters are being handled. Might there be parts of that would eliminate the need to do a manual audit, Masvi? Would that somehow replace this maybe?
Eventually, hopefully, yes. I'll be honest, I've been life. For the past 6 months, it's been life, and I haven't had the opportunity to do enough work with the e-NABLE stuff that I started to actually come up with show it off. I'm hoping that within about 6 months, I don't want to overpromise, but I'm hoping that within 6 months, the chapter portion of the e-NABLE API will be online. Now, does that mean it will immediately help with this situation? Most likely not. But it would help facilitate developers, maybe most likely myself, but potentially others, to come in and help automate this, or come up with different solutions. If you remember, I talked about the device certification thing, which I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but that would eventually lead, the chapter portion of the API would eventually lead into topics such as this, where either it could be automated in a better way, or maybe we can come up with a novel solution that we will come up with eventually.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that. So we will have to do at least another pass at the chapter audit, and then next time around we'll see where we stand. But we'll have to follow up on that. Okay, I don't think I want to get into these other topics because we have not much time remaining, and these are kind of bigger topics. So let me just take this opportunity to open it up to those here and ask if you guys have anything you'd like to talk about. Anyone at all?
We're all very shy.
That's all right. Just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity. So we can wrap a little early. And Andrew, just shoot me an email if you don't mind when if you're available. We'll jump on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I stepped out to call that lady back. Yeah, they're full up, so I'm immediately available after this.
Oh, great. Well, then we can actually just stay in this one. I'll stop the live stream here when we're done, and we can just proceed.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
All right, everyone.
I want to thank each of you. You're all doing great stuff. I keep being reminded that the machine is actually working pretty well, even as we go through all of these little bumps. So thank you.
All right. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.